Electric Adventures here with my channel update for May 2016. Boy, does time go by fast. Really busy month. Suppose top of the news is I've changed jobs, which has been an interesting time, but don't necessarily need to give details or anything like that. But anytime you change from one job to another, there's always challenges and everything like that. And of course, 4 girls, busy life and everything like that. So sorry my video output has been a little low lately, but these things happen. I've still managed to put a few videos out, so at least there has been some content. So anyway, these videos always like to start off with other pickups. So these are pickups that I haven't done a gameplay of or aren't a game. And I did actually get quite a lot of games last month, so there are no games amongst this lot. So the first item, something I ordered quite a long time ago, and it is Game Chasers Season 3. I've got the previous 2, so keep on supporting the guys. Been a supporter of them from the start. Billy hits me up for advice on his Atari ST occasionally, so good to support him anyway. As you can see, still sealed. Haven't had a chance to watch it. I mean, I have watched the episodes that come out, but looking forward to seeing what the bonus content and the menu's like. Also, something that I backed was Hints and Tips for Video Pioneers by Andrew Hewson. I've read it too. It was a very good read. This is the special edition hardback. I actually ordered the normal one, but they allowed you to upgrade to the special edition, which is very nice of them. It's actually a very, very good book, very good read. Read it in a couple of sittings, and they even put, sorry, hardback makes it a bit harder to find the pages, little pictures of everybody who supported it. I'll let you pause that and find where I am on there. But thoroughly recommend it. I'm sure you can still actually get the book. Not sure you can get both hardback and the other edition, but definitely that you can get the software edition. If you're any way interested in that era of games from the retro computers, obviously one of my favourite games that they made was Paradroid. I've talked about that a few other times, and I also really liked Iridium. But they made lots of other games, and it's really interesting reading all about the history. And as I said, it was a really easy, nice read. Probably the first 3/4 of the book was the best part. The last quarter, I think the style changed there a little bit, but I do believe Andrew actually suffered a heart attack halfway through writing this, so that may explain the slightly different writing style later in the book. He's okay though, I hear. Now, third and final pickup for this month, and I actually saw this on a video of Nintendo Arcade. He showed this up and I thought, oh, that looks absolutely fantastic. So I ordered it on Amazon, and it didn't take very long to get here, and it is the Super Famicom cover art collection, and it is very well put together. It obviously focuses on the cover art of the Super Famicom. It doesn't have every game ever made, but it's really well put together. Nice, interesting read. I haven't quite finished it yet, but it's nice reading through there, and it's also a nice guide as what games are out there. I mean, there's no screenshots or anything like that, but it still describes the game and everything like that. And the Super Famicom and SNES is a bit of a particular interest to me at the moment, because I've been working on software for the platform, and bar the few games that I got for my console back in the day, which was a very limited number of games before I got distracted by PC gaming, I really haven't had a lot to do with the whole Super Famicom SNES before. So developing it has allowed me to understand the system, and how graphically, how powerful it is graphically for the period. It's interesting to see the type of games that were brought out of it, which makes sense once you understand the architecture of the console. So really, really enjoying that book, and I haven't quite finished reading it all the way through, but really pleased that I got it. And it wasn't too expensive. Obviously it's a bit heavy, so the postage was a bit of the percentage of the book, so made it a little bit more expensive. Alright, so next on my list for this video is 5 years. Can you believe that I've been on YouTube for 5 years? Now this 5 years I'm measuring not from when I created my YouTube account, which was actually in April, but when I posted my first video that was about retro gaming. I did post a little test video with my 2 little dogs playing. One of them you can see over there on the chair. She was only tiny and having a little play fight with the other one, so I don't really count that one. But there's another video a little bit later that I do, and it's been a very interesting and enjoyable 5 years. I've met and connected with lots of you YouTubers out there. Quite a few of them I consider to be very good friends, and the way the community works, I'm sure there are lots of other people out there that will also be able to call friends in the future. I like watching people's content. I haven't been able to watch as much content myself lately, and I do miss it. I try and catch up where I can, but yeah, sometimes you just got to give up and say, look, I'll just watch current stuff. You can't catch up on all the other stuff, it just becomes impossible. But I have really enjoyed being part of the YouTube community, and as I said, I've met lots of people, done some wonderful trades with lots of people. Everything's not about trading, but and met some really good and interesting people, and I hope to continue to do so. So I hope 5 years, turns into lots more. Obviously the community will continue to change and evolve as things always do, but I'll stick along for the ride, and I hope you continue to join me. Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here. Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here. Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here. Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here. Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here. So next, I always try and answer a question from somebody. Sorry Novabug, your current question is about fighting games, and I really haven't played them very much, so it's not a good question. But go check out Novabug and his monthly Foursome videos. I'll put a link down below. So this time I'll answer T-Rex Space Stations. He's done another 5 community questions. So he does these once every month or so. I'll put a link to his original video down below. So the 5 questions are, and they're all about particular games in our collection. So the idea of his questions is to get people to show different games out of their collections. So I've got my 5 picks here. So a game with aliens in it. Now it doesn't have to be aliens from the Aliens movies in particular, but just any game with an alien in it would do. But I have actually picked something from the Alien movie because this is one of my favourite games in my collection, going back nostalgia wise. Although most of my nostalgia would be around the PlayStation version, but I've picked the Saturn version because I believe the sound's a little better, and it is Alien Trilogy. Now this is the PAL version. I actually also do have the Japanese version, so at some stage I will be, as I'm switching more and more over to the Japanese collection, some of my PAL collection I'll probably trade / sell away, and that will be one of them. Next, a game you got for a bargain. Now I probably have mentioned this one before, but I got this Pro Protector, so that's the PAL version of Contra, at a local market of all things, and I got it for $10, which is a bargain pretty much anywhere. And it's a great game, and I actually enjoy the Probotector over the Contra for some reason. I know it's you plug it into the same speed console, they run at the same speed, but I like the robot characters more. Might be a bit strange, but anyway. Number 3, a game you've owned for more than 10 years. Now I had a couple of choices here, and this particular one was actually one of T-Rex's answers, but for a different one of the questions. He picked it for the best music, which is the next question, but this is one of my absolute favourite games from the Mega Drive that I've owned since I've owned a Mega Drive. So I've owned this for 20 plus years, haven't I? So, and it's a great game. I used to like the arcade game, which was called Flying Shark. So this is sort of the home version of that game. It's not quite, it's not 100% the same, but it's pretty damn close. It plays really well, and as T-Rex said, it has brilliant music. I don't find it very hard though. I can actually play through that pretty much until I grow tired of playing it, unlike Truxton, which I can't get as far. So I would have picked Truxton, but I sold my copy of Truxton to my brother-in-law a long time ago, and I've only recently got it back in my collection, so that one hasn't been in my collection for 10 years. So I owned it over 10 years ago. So next game, so a game with good music. I have to sneak an MSX game in here somehow, so I better pick Space Mambo. It has brilliant music. It even has its own music album CD of the music from Space Mambo, and I really like it. There are others in my collection that I also like as well, but that's the one that sticks out the most. I'm not going to play any music from it because of course it's Konami, and they'll just try and claim copyright on the whole video. And a game I got addicted to. This one's really easy, although it's not the only game that I got addicted to, but it is in fact Elite. I played Elite for the first time on a BBC for a little while in a shop, and then when it came out for the MSX, I played it again. I had a pirated copy though. I copied the disc version. It came out on floppy disk and cassette for the MSX. This cassette version was kindly sent to me by a gentleman in the Netherlands as a freebie added on to a computer I bought off him, and it absolutely blew me away at the time. But this game, I played it for ages on the MSX, and then when I got my Atari ST, I bought a real copy, and I played it from the start again on the Atari ST, so it had me absolutely hooked. About the only other game I could say that I put as much time into would be maybe one of the Diablo games, or perhaps StarCraft. So it's right up there in time and attention on a particular video game. So that was a really good set of questions from T-Rex. Make sure you go check out his channel, link down below to his original video. It's always fun answering community questions. Alright, now it wouldn't be my video without doing a homebrew update. Obviously I've been very busy. I'm still working on a Super Nintendo game, so I can't really show any progress on that because I haven't had a good month as far as that's concerned. But I did, while I was watching the Formula 1 race in Monaco last Sunday, I brushed off some old code from a game that I never released back in the day, but it was almost finished, called Cavern Fighter. And Cavern Fighter is basically my version of the arcade game Scramble. And I've managed to convert it over so it's running on the Coleco, and it's running really well, and it is actually quite playable already. It still needs sound effects and music and obviously intro screens. I'm also, instead of my original intention with the game was you're going to, just like Scramble, get to the end of the cavern and you had to bomb a particular thing, and if you missed it you ran into the cavern and you died and you had to start the level again. So that as the end of the game is not satisfactory enough for me, so I'm going to actually do an end of cavern boss. So it will stop scrolling and you'll have to defeat the boss at the end, a little bit like, R-Type. And I'm going to have more than one set of caverns to make the game, have that bit more replayability. and maybe think of some options down into the menu. So the release of the game is probably a little way off, but as you can see from the video footage that I've hopefully been able to edit in here, it is actually playing quite well. May need to adjust that first level difficulty level. It's actually, I obviously had some bugs in there in the old version, and as soon as I fixed them the game ran a lot faster, so it's actually running a bit fast and might be a bit hard to start with. You know, people have said that my games are a little hard sometimes, so I do want to cater to all audiences. And as far as Meteor Swarm for the NES, that has basically gone gold. The label's been made. I'm not sure of the exact date it will start being produced. I do believe it's mainly being held up because Collectavision's website still has not been finished. But John, Gamester81, is looking to take some stock of that to some of the shows that he's doing, and he's got quite a big show schedule over the next few months. So to start with, to get a copy, you'll have to buy it at those shows until they get the Collectavision website up and running. But there'll be plenty of copies available for those that are after it. We're not going to set a limited number of runs. It is going to be sold to start with just with the cartridge and label, to keep the costs down, because doing NES games is a little new for Collectavision and they really don't know how many people are interested. And later on, once this also alleviates the problem of having to get a box printed at the moment, but what we're going to do is print a box later and you'll be able to order that separately. And box and manual set for those people that want it. So that keeps the price of entry down for people. And I will, after I get my current workload of titles out of the way, there will be more titles definitely coming for the NES. Now that I've got my toolkit nicely put together, and I understand the code base and the machine, it's more of just getting the time to work on other titles. And some of the other titles I've announced in the past, like Berserk for the ColecoVision, I would also like to make for the NES. And even this Cavern Fighter and my Pixidis game. Now I did do a little bit more work editing and debugging to Pixidis as well. It's running a little better. I've added a little shadow underneath your main character, and I've you know, done some changes to the boss at the end of the level and things like that. So definitely progress on the homebrew front. So lots on. At the sacrifice of that, I have barely played any games whatsoever this month, other than I think one lot of gameplays that I released this month. Or did I do two? I did two. So there we go. I did play some games, but only to make those videos. I don't think I've played one other video game because I just haven't had time. So, but I do enjoy coding, so don't think that I'm missing out on anything too much. I really do enjoy coding and writing games. So, but I still do miss playing games as well. But playing a modern game can take up far too much time. The older games, of course, I love. Now I have Super Aleste has stayed in the Super Nintendo, and I've been playing that a little bit, and also gotten into it's Bonks, Super Bonk. It's not the Japanese names escape me at the moment. I've been trying to play that. I'm not very good at platform games, though, I will say. Alright, so I've been babbling for a while. Now, coming up, I am still editing A to Z of my collection, trying to get a couple episodes together now, past the Z80 assembler type stuff now, so back into the game mechanics proper, so that's starting to come together. More Let's Make a Retro, more A to Z of my MSX collection coming up. I have already recorded one of those, so and we're getting up near the end, so maybe I'll have to think of another series to replace that, or maybe I should just focus on Let's Make a Retro Game. Other than that, yeah, I've got some other pickups. I've actually had some other stuff arrive, but I haven't had time to record the gameplays, so I love getting new games and playing them, and I'll try and show you guys as much as possible, so hopefully I'll have some more of those out soon. So alright, I think I've babbled on enough. I hope everybody out there had an excellent month. I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.